So last class we discussed about the respiratory system. The respiratory system up to trachea we discussed. So today we are going to discuss about trachea. Trachea is otherwise known as a windpipe. It is a long tubular structure. It is a long tubular structure which run downwards. Okay, so trachea is a long tubular structure run downward. It is supported by 6 to 20 dorsally incomplete cartilage. Dorsally incomplete cartilage is used to form this pipe, tracheal pipe. It is a C-shaped cartilage, so it is otherwise known as a tracheal ring. So what is the use of this C-shaped cartilage? We can use the round cartilage. Why we can use the C-shaped cartilage? It helps to expand a little and it also prevent its collapse. So the inner of this pipe, inner of the pipe is lined by pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium. These epithelium contain goblet cells. These goblet cells produce mucus. When we go to this ciliated columnar epithelium, these beat against the air inflow. So it when the dust particles or the microbes enter inside, it beat out like a cricket bat. The batsman bats the ball like it batting out the dust particles and microbes. The mucus also entrap these microbes and dust particles. The next part is we call as bronchi and bronchioles. So bronchi means from this trachea, the fifth thoracic vertebrae, they are divided into two long pipes. That is we call as primary bronchi. This primary bronchi is again divided into secondary bronchi and tertiary bronchi. Okay. Then this is also supported by, or this is also made up of incomplete cartilage ring. Then the bronchioles. When we go to bronchioles, their primary bronchioles are there. They again branch into secondary bronchioles, branch into tertiary bronchioles branch into terminal bronchioles, terminal bronchioles branch into respiratory bronchioles. So these are the different branches of the bronchioles. So when we go take trachea, bronchi and bronchioles, so we call it as a pulmonary tree. And this is the part that is from the external nostrils to this respiratory bronchioles, we call the conducting part, because this part conduct the air from external environment to the internal lungs. That is we call as a conducting part. Then next we goes to alveolar. Next part is we call as a alveolar duct, atria and the alveolar sac. So the bronchioles, that is the terminal bronchioles, that is the respiratory bronchioles, continuous terminal bronchioles in a cluster of alveolar ducts. So next part is we call as a alveolar duct or atria or alveolar sac. The bronchioles, that is the terminal or the last bronchioles in a cluster of alveolar duct which end in a expanded passage known as atria. Atria leads to alveolar sac. Alveolar sac is a sac-like structure. It is surrounded by blood vessels, so it is highly vascular. When we take a ball, the ball is surrounded by a net. Okay, how it is? Like that, the alveoli is surrounded by the blood vessels, so it is highly vascular, and the exchange of gases occur in this alveolar sac. So alveolar sac is known as miniature of the lungs. When we take the lungs, two lungs, there are 300 millions of alveoli in two lungs. The alveoli consist of alveolar epithelium. These epithelium secrete a surface current that is known as lecithin. The lecithin is used to reduce the surface tensions between the alveolar air and alveolar fluid and the air. It preventing the collapse of alveoli. Alveolar collapse is also prevented by this lecithin. And this alveolar duct, atria and alveolar sac are we called as a respiratory part or exchange part, because the exchanges take place in this area. They intake O2 and outcoming carbon dioxide by exchange method. Exchange means if you want to give some and take some means we can use the word exchange. So here the exchanges take place by simple diffusion. Then IRDS. IRDS means infant respiratory distress syndrome. In newborn babies, the lecithin may not produce in sometimes. So it is fatal to the body and leads to collapsing of lungs. That is we call as athletics. Then lungs. When we go to the lungs is present inside the thoracic cavity. In between this thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity, there is a partition known as diaphragm. The diaphragm is found only in mammals and crocodiles. So when we go to the lungs has no muscles. It is a soft, spongy, elastic organ and it is pinkish in color. When we take our lungs, we have a left and right lungs are there. The left lungs has 2 lobes and they are smaller than the right one. Right has 3 lobes are there. These 3 lobes are formed by the fissure by horizontal and oblique fissure are there. The left lung has a notch, that is we call as a cardiac notch. The heart is somewhat tilted to the left side, so there is a notch is there, that is we call as a cardiac notch. Then the lungs is covered by a membrane known as a pleural membrane. The pleural membrane is a double layer membrane or double layer pleura. The outer and inner. The outer is known as parietal pleura. It is close to the thoracic cavity. The inner is known as visceral pleura. It is close to the lungs, visceral organ. In between this, there is a space known as pleural cavity. Pleural cavity is filled with a watery fluid known as pleural fluid. This pleural fluid is secreted by the pleural membrane. Pleural membrane secretes this pleural fluid. So they can ask the questions. Diaphragm is present in which are the organs? Which are the organisms have a diaphragm? So overall view of the respiratory system. When we go to the respiratory system, there are 2 external nostrils are there. External nostrils enter into the nasal chamber. The anterior part of the nasal chamber is known as vestibule. It consists of hair and sebaceous gland. The nasal chamber is made up of blade-like bones are there. There are 3 bones are there. They are plant-like bones. This cavity consists of goblet cells. They secrete mucus. It also filters the air from dust particles and microbes. Then they open into internal nares or internal nostrils. Internal nostrils enter into a common opening known as pharynx. The inferior part of the pharynx has 2 openings. One is glottis, another is known as gullet. The glottis is closed by epiglottis while swallowing the food. Then it continues as a pipe, plus the larynx and a trachea. Trachea is made up of a C-shaped cartilage. Okay, there is not a complete ring. Okay, incomplete ring is used to make the trachea to prevent from collapsing. Then by the 5th thoracic vertebrae, this trachea is bifurcated into 2, that is 2 bronchi. The bronchi is again divided into primary bronchi, secondary bronchi and tertiary bronchi. Then next bronchioles. Bronchioles is again branches into primary, secondary, tertiary, terminal and respiratory bronchioles are there. These bronchioles enter into next part, that is we call as alveolar duct, atria and alveolar sac. When we take a bunch of grapes, what is the shape? That is the shape of the alveoli. When we take a bunch of grapes, each branches is end with a small sac-like structure. Like that, our alveoli is seeds.